Oke, halo semuanya. Apa kabar? Semoga kalian semua dalam keadaan yang baik. Perkenalkan, saya Osvaldo Sumarko, saya dari Palembang. Namo Sangya di Budaya, Namo Budaya. Selamat datang kembali di Hangout. Sekarang kita masih ketemu secara online, tapi saya sangat berharap nantinya kita bisa bertemu secara offline. Pada hari ini, Hangout akan membahas sebuah topik yang diberi judul To Accept and Move Along. Tentu sekarang sudah hampir di akhir tahun, teman-teman. Tepatnya kita ada di tanggal 19 Desember 2021. Yang artinya 12 hari lagi kita akan menutup tahun 2021 dan membuka tahun 2022. Gimana nih perjuangan teman-teman melewati tahun 2021 ini? Boleh dong diceritakan di kolom komentar apa aja yang sudah teman-teman lakukan dan apa saja yang sudah teman-teman capai di tahun ini. Ngomong-ngomong tentang akhir tahun, tentu banyak hal yang terjadi teman-teman di awal tahun sampai sekarang, dan saya yakin juga teman-teman mengalami banyak hal, baik itu hal yang baik ataupun hal yang kurang baik. Tapi tentu kita akan berusaha untuk mengingat hal-hal yang baik dan mencoba untuk melupakan atau move on dari hal-hal yang kurang baik ini. Jujur sebenarnya saya pribadi masih sulit untuk melupakan hal-hal yang telah terjadi di tahun 2021, khususnya hal-hal yang buruk ataupun kesalahan-kesalahan yang pernah saya lakukan di tahun ini. Tapi saya sangat berharap bahwa teman-teman semuanya tidak bernasib sama seperti saya. Saya berharap kalian semua bisa melupakan, bisa move on dari masa lalu ini, dari tahun 2021 ini, dan berangkat kepada tahun 2022. Ngomong-ngomong tentang tahun 2022, kita tentu punya harapan dan punya impian untuk tahun 2022 ini. Mungkin teman-teman yang sudah punya harapan, impian, atau bahkan rancangan untuk tahun 2022, boleh dong di-share juga di kolom komentar. Siapa tahu itu bisa menginspirasi teman-teman yang lain. Kalau saya pribadi, saya memiliki harapan yang cukup simpel. Saya berharap kita semua, kalian, selalu dalam keadaan yang baik dan terus bisa berkembang, baik itu dalam hal pendidikan, keuangan, keluarga, bahkan dalam hubungan Buddha Dharma. Dan maka dari itu saya mau mengucapkan selamat untuk kalian semua yang telah berhasil bertahan dari tahun awal 2021 ini, di bulan Januari sampai di bulan Desember ini. Dan saya juga mau mengajak teman-teman semuanya untuk accept tahun 2021 ini and move along ke tahun 2022 bersama-sama. Selamat menikmati Hangout dan mari kita ikuti Hangout sampai selesai. Semoga kita semua mendapatkan hal yang baik.
Hai Buddhist Worshippers, hari ini kami mau mengajak teman-teman untuk bernyanyi bersama-sama
serta memuji Buddha. Teman-teman nyanyi bareng kita ya. Let every human and diva,
let every human and diva sing praises to the Holy One. Lift up the anthem from our hearts, worship the King of Kings. Let every heart and every mind sing glory to the perfect one. Live up the anthem from our hearts, worship the King of Kings, the enlightened one, founder of Dhamma. Forever we will bring and sing praises to our King. Praise, O Lord Buddha, we lift your name high. Together we proclaim, till forevermore, Lord, you be praised.
kita ulang sekali lagi. Let every heart and every mind. Teman-teman, mari kita nyanyikan bersama-sama Wonderful Teacher.
Wonderful teacher, full of compassion, praise, O Lord Buddha, King of Kings. Wonderful teacher, full of compassion, praise, O Lord Buddha, King of Kings. Wonderful teacher, full of compassion, praise, O Lord Buddha, King of Kings. Wonderful teacher, full of compassion, praise, O Lord Buddha, King of Kings. The enlightened one, founder of Dhamma, forever we will bring and sing praises to our King. Praise, O Lord Buddha, we lift your name high. Together we proclaim till forevermore, Lord, you be enlightened, founder of Dhamma. Forever we will bring and sing praises to our King. Praise, O Lord Buddha, we lift your name high. Together we proclaim till forevermore, Lord. Together we proclaim till forevermore, Lord, you'll be praised. You'll be praised. Teman-teman, marilah kita mengikuti ajaran Buddha yang merupakan jalan yang indah. Damainya hati ini. Damainya hati ini, karena ku telah mengerti suka dan duka yang ku alami, tiada yang abadi. Takkan ku ragu lagi, ajaran mulia ini. Mataku terbuka, batinku tercerah, hatiku bahagia. Jalan yang indah yang telah engkau temukan, bagai pelita terangi langkahku. Cinta kasihmu besar ku rasakan, di jalanmu hidupku sandarkan. Dalam hidup ini, pasti kita pernah mengalami yang namanya kegagalan. Tetapi kita harus terus maju, terus melangkah dalam jalan yang indah. Takkan ku ragu lagi. Takkan ku ragu lagi, ajaran mulia ini. Mataku terbuka, batinku tercerah, hatiku bahagia. Jalan yang indah Jalan yang indah yang telah engkau temukan, bagai pelita terangi langkahku. Cinta kasihmu besar ku rasakan, di jalanmu hidupku sandarkan. Marilah kita ulangi satu kali lagi. Jalan yang indah yang telah engkau temukan, bagai pelita terangi langkahku. Cinta kasihmu besar ku rasakan, di jalanmu hidupku sandarkan. Di jalanmu hidupku sandarkan.
Namo Buddhaya. Thank you so much, Buddhist Worship, for giving me this opportunity to share the Dhamma to the youth community in Indonesia. My name is Ratna. I'm very happy and very grateful to share today. If you're wondering, I am Indonesian, but I have been living in Singapore for more than a decade. So my bahasa Indo a bit karatan. I got to learn about Dhamma when I was 15 years old. I started at Wihara Padumutara. Back then, I was looking out for ways to help me manage my emotions better. Dulu tuh sangat galau kayak yo-yo ya. Dan juga some guidance to some of the challenges that I face in my life as well. So I moved to Singapore to study, and in the early years, I faced so many challenges, from language barriers to communications to adapted to new environment, right, and struggled with long distance relationship and felt constant imposter syndrome as well, and so many more. I'm sure many of you can relate to some of these challenges in different contexts, right? So, and one of my friends introduced me to Indonesian Buddhist community in Singapore. That's where I started to volunteer my time and learn the Buddha's teaching, the Dhamma, right? And practicing Dhamma has literally transformed my life in many ways I couldn't imagine. The practice of mindfulness helps me a lot in managing my anxiety, especially my public speaking. Just to give a bit of context, I used to have a public speaking trauma, and it was really bad to the extent it crashed my self-confidence and I had low self-esteem. And mindfulness practice helps me to change my narratives, my story about public speaking. Now I get paid speaking and doing training. And it's been very, very humbling and fulfilling journey for me. And from there, I become very passionate about facilitating a mindfulness session, as it's been very transformational for me. So I run corporate well-being programs to help people and organizations to cope with burnout and improve their overall well-being. And other than that, I also volunteer my time to build a community of young women leaders who are passionate to make a positive impact. So that's just a little bit about myself. And today is not about me, it's about you. And I hope that today sharing, it will help you to, you can get some insights from what I shared, and eventually helps you to overcome some of the challenges that you face in your life, and eventually helps you to become happier and healthier and much more fulfilled and lead much more fulfilling life as well, right? So we live in a very interesting era, right? COVID has been around for almost 2 years. And many of us thought that this shall pass soon, but udah 2 tahun, still not passed yet. And even the new variant has also made us wonder when is this going to end, right? And perhaps many of us somehow felt, like losing hope or even spark in our life as well, because this going on for too long, right? And I know not only that, our dreams are also delayed because of many COVID restrictions. And on top of that, many become addicted to social media without realizing that it makes us unhappy. When we are on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, right, we follow many influencers who are successful, have so many followers, they are so pretty, so handsome, and the glass is always green on the other side, and we can't help but to compare, right? And we all know that comparison is the thief of joy that makes us unhappy. And the grass is green when we water it. So don't need to compare yourself with the famous influencers, because each one of you is unique on your own, and each one of you has different gift that you can offer to the world. Yeah. So I just wanted to come back recalling the Buddha's teaching. If you know Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the Four Noble Truths, 4 Kesunyataan Mulia, the first noble truth is the truth of suffering. And when I first chanced upon this practice of these teachings of the Buddha, I was like, wow, I tried to connect the dot why there are a lot of things that is happening in my life makes me unhappy. So the first noble truth, the truth of suffering, was so on point, right? I felt so many things, challenges that I faced in my life because I was not able to accept that, right? And referring to Samyutta Nikaya number 56, Buddha shared, birth is suffering, aging is suffering, illness is suffering, death is suffering, union with what is displeasing is suffering. For example, COVID, right? Separation for what is pleasing is suffering. For example, you separate with your loved ones. Because of COVID, many people also pass away, right? Not to get what we want, like, for example, our dreams becoming popular, or our dream girlfriend, our dream boyfriend, it is suffering. And in brief, these 5 aggregate subject to clinging are suffering. And I'm sure that all of us could definitely relate to this. When I was young, I want everything under the sun. When I didn't get it, I was suffering. I wanted to be a cool kid, but I was fat and had low self-esteem. I was suffering. I wanted to do really well in my study, and I failed my exam. It was suffering. I had a boyfriend but couldn't be with him. It was suffering. When I was about to get married and decided to break up, it was suffering. And I wanted to do my own business, but I was afraid to fail. It was suffering. And as a human being, we share this tendency to look for certainty. And in difficult times like COVID, like this, we experience stress, trying to find solid ground, something predictable and safe to stand on. But in truth, the very nature of our existence is forever in flux. Everything keeps changing, whether we are aware of it or not. We seem to suffer because we have this deep-seated fear of how things really are. We want things to be done in a certain way, And when it's not, we are disappointed. And our attempts to find lasting pleasure, lasting security are in conflict with the fact that we are part of this dynamic system in which everything and everyone is in process. And in my healing journey and my way of looking out for ways to cope with my suffering, right? I chanced upon the Buddha's teaching, the Dhamma, and it helps me to open up my perspective to the truth of suffering, to the cause of suffering, which is, the craving. We want more. We chase after pleasure, the mundane pleasure. And Buddha also shared that the end of suffering is to strive to reduce our cravings, right? Moderate our wanting. And the path to end the suffering, which is the Eightfold Path, yang kita kenal dengan 8 jalan mulia, yeah. And throughout this journey, right, one of my biggest breakthrough is to really accept that change is the only constant. And we all need to learn to embrace change with an open mind and an open heart so that we can move along with courage and compassion, knowing that other people are also are suffering as well. Right. So there is no use of complaining. There is no use of comparing with other people, but to really make peace with the discomfort feelings, right, within ourselves, right? And we can do that by practicing mindfulness, cultivating virtues, doing good things through developing the 10 paramis atau 10 paramita, where this helps us to live life according to the Dhamma, so that whenever we face any challenges, we can overcome it, right? So our happiness lies in really creating virtue. When we do good and do virtuous things, helping others, helping out in the Buddhist worship, or maybe simple things like helping your parents or helping your friends who are in need, we will find joy in doing it, right? And when that happens, we will have this boundless energy to do more virtuous things. And that's what we all call virya, joyous effort, joyous energy. The energy that is very light. It is really like virya is like a persistent effort, which is not being discouraged by any failures. When we all have virya, we are excited to do good. And when we do good, we cultivate our mind with right effort. It also helps us to find peace within ourselves. So let's chat a little bit more about virya, right? Virya can refer to both mental and physical energy. I think probably most of us taking care of our health is part of the virya paramita. And for many of us, mental energy is kind of like quite challenging to practice, right? And a lot of us struggle to really make time for like daily practice. We find it hard to find the time to meditate, to chant, or to even listen to the Dhamma talk. So I just wanted to applaud you for being here today, because sometimes it can be challenging to really carve out time for Dhamma practices and listening to the Dhamma. So kudos to each and every one of you for being here today. And, this kind of thing, it might be the last thing we feel like doing, right? On the other hand, we have a lot of energy for watching TV, Netflix, browsing Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or just lazing around in our bed. right? So how do we grow our mental energy, which is our virya, right? So the first one is when we realize how this attachment to worldly pleasures is trapping us and the real happiness lies in virtue, then we will have the energy to actually cultivate this goodness within, right? We leave everything behind when we die, even our body. Now we treasure our friends, our family, maybe our boyfriend, our girlfriend, seeing them as a source of our happiness. But when we die, they can do nothing to help us. They cannot share our suffering. And when we are too attached to them, it really makes us suffer as well. So I think it's also important to realize that attachment to worldly pleasure is really trapping us from experiencing more joy and real happiness. And so, you know, in order for us to be able to cultivate virtues, we need to constantly reflect on this as well, so that we can prioritize our Dhamma practice, which is sometimes is being neglected, but I think it's really important to put that as a non-negotiable routine in our daily lives as well. Yeah. And then the second one is when we reflect on the impermanence and death, it generates perseverance we need to withstand any hardship we encounter without fear, right? So when we cling into the samsaric world, the suffering world, we fear so many things. But when we learn to reflect this impermanent nature of things, rather than pursuing what is meaningless, with the courage gained from reflecting this impermanence, right, and also death, we actually have this power and determination to the virya as well to overcome the delusions and only do what is really meaningful in our life, right? Coming back to the virtue again. And by reflecting on the impermanence nature of things and death will also help us to develop samvega. Samvega is the spiritual urgency to practice. So according to Buddhaghosa, he mentioned that samvega is also associated with the development of energy, which is virya that we are talking about, as well as the right effort. Our right effort is usaha yang baik, ya, di dalam salah satu 8 jalan utama, right? So let's talk a little bit about right effort, yeah. So how can we practice right effort, sama vayama? Coming back to the dreams that we all have in our life that we want to achieve, it is very normal to have dream. Yeah, some of you want to be rich, some of you want to be successful, right? And some want to have a big house. Whatever is your dream is, right? And having a dream is important because that's where you keep going, you find that passion, right? Because each one of us want to achieve something in our life with the hope that we will be happy, right? And all the dreams and aspirations that we choose basically because we like them, and it brings us passion, it brings us joy, it brings us you also interested in all those things, right? And we also have that energy to really pursue that dreams. We talked about virya earlier, and this virya will help us to realize our aspirations and dreams. But not many people understand how important is this virya that we need. And very often, right, we feel discouraged or we feel disappointed and frustrated when we are unable to achieve it, right? And why can this happen? Because if we have a very strong virya, and we don't use it in a good way, so we become very ambitious, and the result is it's not incomparable with what we hope for. So with a very strong ambition, desire, when it turns to be a strong desire, right, then the result, and then when it comes to the result doesn't match with our expectation and our ambitions, it will cause a lot of anxiety, frustration, disappointment, to the extent of causing someone's mental health as well. So in order for us to prevent that to happen, we need to understand our capabilities. How much can we do this, right? This reminds me of the story of Bante Sona and the harp kecapi, right? This story is from Anguttara Nikaya 6.55. So basically, this story is during Buddha's time. There is a monk called Sona, and Sona used to be harp player. After he heard the Dhamma from the Buddha, he has a strong faith towards the Dhamma, and he decided to be a monk, right? So after becoming a monk, he has so much virya and put in a lot of effort in the practice. Every day he will meditate, day in, day out, in the day, at night as well, but he didn't see any results. So he felt quite frustrated and want to leave the practice. And Buddha heard about it and come to visit Bante Sona, right? And Bante Sona shared about his effort and his virya to practice meditation, but couldn't really see the results. So that makes him want to give up. And Buddha actually gave him some motivations, because Buddha knows that he used to be a harp player, kecapi. He used harp as the analogy. So Buddha asked Bante Sona, right, how do you play harp? What if the string is not too strong? Right, Bante Sona answered, the sound will not be nice to hear, even can cause the string to break. Right? What if the harp string is too loose? Bante Sona answered, the sound will not be heard too. So how do you make the sounds to be beautiful and pleasing to hear? So Bante Sona answered, to produce a beautiful sound, the harp string has to be not too strong and not too loose. That's the practice you need to walk. And after understanding the Buddha's teachings and analogy, Bante Sona come back to the practice according to his ability and until he achieved the liberation. So from this story, what's takeaway can we get from this story? This story helps us to reflect that when we put our effort, our virya to achieve what we want, we also need to have a balance, right? Not too ambitious and not too lazy. We also need to know how much ability we can do to achieve it. Without knowing our ability, right, we can stop halfway through. And with this new understanding, I hope that all of us, when we work hard to achieve our dreams and aspirations, it is really important to understand our capability as well. So it doesn't make it too intense and too pressurized, but have the balance just like the analogy of the harp string, not too strong and not too loose, right? And I also recall this Zen teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh. He says that the fourfold right diligence is nourished by joy and interest. And if your practice does not bring you joy, you are not practicing correctly. Practice should be nourishing and not draining, right? So maybe from here, we can have a stop first and just reflecting back in our own practice as well. Is your practice joyful? Is it nourishing? Or is your practice makes you feel like, I feel like doing a chore, or it feels like draining, like I'm dragging myself to meditate, or I drag myself to listen to the Dhamma talk, or whatever it is, right? So just have a little reflection, and then, we can continue after that, right? We have talked about virya, or energy, and the right effort in our Dhamma practice, right? In the right effort, there are 4 components that we need to strive for, right? The first one is to prevent the unwholesome qualities from arising. Itu usaha untuk menghindari perilaku buruk yang belum ada. So contohnya greed, our anger, our ignorance, right? And then the second one is extinguish unwholesome qualities that already have arisen. So which means that usaha-usaha untuk menghilangkan perilaku buruk yang telah ada, yang sudah kita ada, ya, yang sudah kita akumulasi. Yang ketiga adalah cultivate the skillful and wholesome qualities that have not yet arisen. For example, generosity, compassion, loving kindness, and wisdom. So mengembangkan perilaku baik yang belum ada, ya. Dan yang terakhir adalah strengthen the wholesome qualities that have already arisen. Mengembangkan perilaku baik yang sudah ada, ya. Jadi perilaku kayak compassion, loving kindness, helping others, wisdom, and all that. So, and just nice that we are coming to the end of the year, and to move along in 2022. And I think I wanted to invite you to just think of the 4 areas that you want to strive for in your Dhamma practice. Right? What are some unwholesome qualities that you want to reduce or cut down or let go in 2021? For example, just for example, like maybe you spend too much time watching TV, or you spend too much time gossiping about others, right? And some of all these behaviors that you wanted to let go in 2021, so that you can move forward with confidence, with compassion, with virya, with right effort in 2022. And what are some wholesome qualities, right, that you want to develop in 2022? For example, maybe you want to spend a bit more time in, meditating, in meditation, or even listening to the Dhamma, or even doing a Dhamma discussion instead of spending more time on Instagram, TikTok, and some other social medias that probably brings you a lot of suffering, right? So in developing right effort, right, we will also face with many hindrances atau halangan. So 5 halangan yang kita alami adalah, yang pertama sensual desire, kamacanda, right, keinginan tertentu di mana kita mencari kebahagiaan melalui 5 indrawi, kan? Yang kedua adalah ill will, Vyapada, semua pemikiran yang berkaitan dengan keinginan untuk menolak, mungkin perasaan permusuhan atau kebencian atau kepahitan, right? So yang ketiga adalah sloth and torpor or drowsiness, tina bida, kayak misalnya kalau kita lagi practice meditation, kita merasa ngantuk atau tidak bisa berkonsentrasi, kan itu adalah salah satu halangan juga. Yang keempat adalah restlessness and worry, udaca kukuca, ketidakupayaan untuk menenangkan pikiran. Jadi pikirannya tuh kayaknya busy banget ya, sibuk banget dan nggak bisa konsentrasi kalau pada saat meditasi, kan. Yang terakhir adalah uncertainty or skepticism, wicikica atau keraguan-raguan, ya, kurang keyakinan atau kepercayaan kepada Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So these are the 5 hindrances that we will face when we also trying to develop our practice and strengthen our Dhamma practice as well. So the way to overcome this is to really develop and strengthen the mindfulness of our body, our sensations, feelings, and thoughts. So when our awareness increases, it really helps us to overcome all these hindrances, right? So while it is good to have dedicated practice of mindfulness, maybe you dedicated like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or even 15 minutes daily to do meditation, sitting meditation, depending on your comfort level, yeah. But it is also, I think, very important to integrate the practice of mindfulness in our daily life, right? For example, when we eat, when we shower, just being aware of the process, what we are doing. When we brush our teeth, when we speak with our loved ones mindfully, that's how we live and practice the Dhamma and bringing the Dhamma practice into our day-to-day life as well. Right, so I hope whatever I shared today, it could benefit you wherever you are in your Dhamma journey. So last but not least, please continue practicing the Dhamma and also never give up and continue to develop this virya and the right effort in your Dhamma practice as well. And remember that when you cultivate this right effort in your Dhamma practice, you will also face different kind of challenges, but always remember to really, continue cultivating and developing the mindfulness in our daily life so that we can also, live happily and live a more fulfilling life as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time and attention, and may all beings be well and happy. Thank you.
Nibbana tak mustahil karya Rita. Kala orang-orang berbaring di atas mimpi, berbalut kain hangat nan lembut, tanah dan bebatuan kasar hanya menjadi alas dengan beku menancap di tubuhnya. Saat orang-orang berpayung keteduhan, berlimpah makanan dalam perut, panas menyembilu membakar kulitnya, nyawa tak masalah, tekad telah jadi pedang. 5 petapa remehkannya, marah tertawa dan tembakan panah, dan semua tak memiliki makna, bagaikan pantulan bulan di sungai. Pohon Bodhi adalah saksi, langit dan bumi bersukacita, kebenaran terjejak pada setiap langkah. agar derita menemui ujung, agar kelam dunia menemukan pelita. Batin manusia yang gersang telah disiraminya, nibana tak lagi mustahil.
Ehipassiko, come and see, you know the teachings of peace, the teachings of love, the teachings of the Buddha is for all who wants to be free forevermore. Ehipassiko, come and see, you know the teachings of peace, the teachings of love, the teachings of the Buddha is for all who wants to be free forevermore. Don't just believe, investigate. Do not simply accept what you hear or you see, not even if it's uttered by me. So don't just agree, you've got to verify when you know that it's good and it's praised by the wise. So live up to it the rest of your life.
Teman-teman, pernah gak sih merasakan ragu untuk mengambil sebuah kesempatan? Nah, aku mau ngasih tahu teman-teman buat jangan pernah takut kegagalan selama teman-teman dapat mempelajari sesuatu dari hal itu dan menjadi seseorang yang lebih baik. Ehipassiko.
Ehipassiko, come and see, you know the teachings of peace, the teachings of love, the teachings of the Buddha is for all who wants to be free forevermore. Ehipassiko, come and see, you know the teachings of peace, the teachings of love, the teachings of the Buddha is for all who wants to be free forevermore. The teachings of love, the teachings of the Buddha is for all who wants to be free terasa ya, ternyata kita udah di penghujung acara Hangout nih teman-teman. Nah, kira-kira kalian dapat belajar apa sih dari sharing Dhamma hari ini teman-teman? Boleh ya langsung di chat di kolom komentar yang ada di bawah ini. Dan juga jangan lupa kasih tombol like dan juga subscribe teman-teman. Dan jangan lupa untuk turn on notification-nya agar kalian gak ketinggalan video-video menarik berikutnya. Buat teman-teman nih yang penasaran dan pengen ikutan keseruan kita, boleh banget langsung scan QR barcode di sini. Di sini kita bakalan pelayanan dan melakukan kegiatan-kegiatan yang menarik, tentunya didasari oleh Dhamma teman-teman. Dan buat teman-teman yang mau berdana, boleh banget nih teman-teman, langsung aja scan lagi QR kita yang berikut ini. Dan satu lagi yang gak kalah pentingnya, kami juga aktif loh teman-teman di sosial media. Nah, buat teman-teman boleh langsung cek sosial media berikut ini teman-teman. Nah, terima kasih banyak teman-teman yang udah join Hangout pada hari ini ya teman-teman. Dan jangan lupa kita harus bertemu lagi di Hangout berikutnya. See you, bye-bye teman-teman.